Good evening and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today is day one of RPG a Day, and the prompt for today is first. So what I thought I would do is I'm going to show off the first module that I had ever played. It's also most likely the first module that I had DM'd. So I got this first module. Um, here's the Here's the physical first module of Keep on the Borderlands. And this was part of my box set, the magenta box set. Now I picked up and I did a video on this box set a couple months ago when I purchased it on eBay. It was complete, which I was super excited about, and I just wanted to, for the purposes of this video, is to go through the Keep on the Borderlands module, and because that's something I didn't do in the last video of this. So I will link my my box opening, at the end, so you'll be able to access that video in the end credits, and you can take a look at that video after this one. So let's get right into this. So let's see, we're going to go here. So here's the Keep on the Borderlands, and it's written by Gary Gygax. It's for levels 1 through 3, and it's an interesting module in that it allows you to keep on using it over and over again. If I recall, we spent weeks. And my gaming group was 4 players, or 1 DM and 4 players. So it was my friends Shayna, Adam, and Steven, plus myself. And I went off to college. By 87, Steve had joined the Navy. I was still around until 1990, when I went into the Army myself. And so we pretty much played almost on a daily basis from 1977 through 1985. And then thereafter it was, certainly not every day, or certainly not every weekend or so. It was maybe once every 2 weeks or so that we would get together. So let's get right into the module. So we're going to go through. So they begin. The module begins. And I was going to do this showing the PDF, because I do have the PDF, but sometimes the PDF interferes with the sound quality of uploading, so I didn't want to mess around with that. But it begins off telling you how to basically play the game of Dungeons and Dragons. How to be an effective dungeon master is here, and it goes through giving you various tips and everything. So it was very, very instructional for a module that you might not see as much in today's modules. They kind of assume that you know the rules in certain cases. But because this was such an early on module, Gary Gygax had gone through and made an effort to make sure that you know how to do all of these little components here. And you're going to start off in the keep, and I will show you the map of the keep, because there is a map of the keep in the booklet. And let's see, well, this is part of the unscripted part. So here's the keep on the Borderland. So your characters are going to start off in this keep here, and the story begins with you approaching and coming up to this gate entrance, and from there you start to unfold the story. And areas of the keep. So it begins with the main gate, which we have here, and gives the DM basic information about how to describe what the main gate looks like and then what is going to potentially happen there. And it gives the stats for the men-at-arms, just in case anything unexpected happens between the player character group and the men-at-arms. There's flanking towers. There's the entry yard once you enter into that zone. There's the stables, the common warehouse. They basically lay out all of the different areas of the keep and then the various possibilities and interactions that can take place there. There are some charts about what you can find, or lists of what you can find in certain of these buildings, like the loan bank. So if your player party decides, hey, we're going to rob this bank while we're here, it does have the possibility for that set up here. So there is quite a bit of free play built into this, and I'm looking for a particular chart, and somehow I lost track of it. Here we are. So when the players enter in, and you can kind of see, let's tilt this up a little bit. There's a rumor table. And so when the player characters enter into the keep itself, that's when the adventure really starts to begin. That's when they start to interact with the world for the first time. And one of the things that they're going to do is each character in the group is going to pick up at least one rumor from the rumor table. And some of the rumors are actually factually false, and then others are kind of like adventure hooks. And then once they've learned some of these key components, and the DM has full control over which rumors he or she wants the group to get, which ones that they want to exclude, and so on. And they can even add their own to this as well if they do want to modify some of the story hooks for getting the characters to the cave of the caves of chaos, which is really where the game picks up. So going to it, so the caves of chaos. So let me try to show you this map here. So here are the caves of chaos, and basically one of the rumors that they receive, or one of the tips that the GM might give the player group, is that they should investigate these caverns from the low side first, and then work their way up higher elevation and going in through. So they're technically supposed to start with A, and then work their way around from A to D, E, and G. And I will go through each of this. This A that you can see here is the cold roll layer. And so as first level characters, this is something that they should be able to handle. And very few of these dungeon levels actually connect to each other. Like B and C are connected, but they're connected via a secret door here, which the players may or may not actually discover and make that connection. So, and there are several others that are connected in similar fashion, like H and I are connected as well. Over here is the connector, a secret door there as well, and so on. So this is kind of like the mega dungeon idea, where your characters begin the adventure as level 1, and then they can do a series of adventures that will take them from levels 1 to 3, or potentially even higher than that. So now before they get to the caves of chaos, All right, so here are the Caves of Chaos over here. Here is the keep. They're going to travel along this road. And of course, they could potentially encounter various things as they're traveling along. They might decide, hey, let's check out this swamp or this river or cut through this forest. The Cave of the Unknown is actually dungeon module B1, which was a completely randomized, just introducing the characters to or the players, I should say, to the game system of D&D. And that's a totally separate module. And the players could have run that as well. Although my particular group, we never did that because it is completely randomly generated from dice rolls, and it's a very, very simplistic system. We jumped right into B2 when we began playing. But that's certainly a possibility if you chose to do that. And then the characters would come up to the Caves of Chaos here. And then out comes this, I'm going to call this an iconic map because we use this thing all the time. And the great thing about this module is that it's not placed in any particular setting, so you could use this in any setting. This could be in your homegrown campaign or your world setting. This could be in Greyhawk. This could be in Forgotten Realms or any of the other prefabricated, official licensed world settings. So going through, so the characters can engage in something along the way. And here are some charts, useful charts and everything that you would need. Pretty much just a recapture of what there was probably on your DM screen as far as, armor classes and such. So here we go to the actual Caves of Chaos. Let's see. They kind of organize this kind of strangely. So, Kobold Lair is an A here, and I can bring this down a little bit now. So the player character group is really designed to begin with the Kobold Lair, and then they start going through it. And there's a nice mix of everything that the players need to rely upon. So, they're going to be rolling for initiative. They're going to have combat. They may be mapping out as they're going into this first dungeon delve that they're going into. I know that's what we did. We had our graph paper and our pencils and our dice, and we're mapping out these things because it was our very first experience playing an official module. And it goes through and it explains what's happening at each room of the cavern set A here. So you can see here as they enter in, there's that pit trap. There's room 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's only 6 rooms in this. And depending on the rumors that they had pre-rolled and on the DM's decisions, whether or not he or she wanted to connect some of those rumors to that specific space, you start going through these just 6 rooms. So it could be a fairly short time session that you'd have to dedicate to just doing this. I would certainly say this a 6-room scenario is probably about 3 hours of actual game time. It's been so long since I've run this, so depends on the group size. It depends on how much the players are interacting with each other and with the environment as they're traveling there. But very, very short system of just rooms that they're going to encounter. And the Kobold Chieftain is the that room is the climax of whatever interaction they're going to have against the Kobold Lair. One of the rules that they said was that once the players have wiped out a lair, that lair will remain dormant between 1 and 4 weeks, where it might get repopulated by something else or the same type of creatures if any of them had actually survived. Section B is an orc lair, and now I'm just going to go through and just detail which each lair as we go through. Section C is also an orc lair, so you have two separate orc lairs, and they are connected by that secret door that I had shown you. And so there's possibilities that these are two separate tribes. There's possibilities that they're still allied, or they may be in dispute with each other, and that secret door that separates the two might be something that kind of a scene that's taking place where the characters can pick up on it and say, hey, wait a second, there's something beyond this this blank wall that seems to be something of interest that the orcs are heavily defending against. And so they can then gain access to Section C. D is a goblin lair. Now remember, the B and the C were at a higher level, so going up there, and I'll show you the map once again, they're going to go up in level of difficulty if they go from A to B. But if they go from A, kobold lair, to D, that's a goblin lair. And so goblins are, obviously, they're not as difficult a challenge as are orcs. And you can see that D is a goblin lair. E is just an ogre cave. So not a multi-room, not a multi-room place, other than the fact that there is a secret door that connects the ogre lair to the goblins. And whether or not they're all aware of this is really up to the DM if he or she wants to explore that and do something with that. That it might be a way to further engage the characters in utilizing their skills and detecting secret doors and doing other things related to just basically adventuring. Hobgoblin lair. Now, generally speaking, hobgoblins are, of those races. I mean, one-on-one ogres are more powerful than hobgoblins, but hobgoblins are very organized, and they tend to mistreat and enslave other, I almost said demi-human races, but the other humanoid races. Such as not so much orcs, but certainly goblins and certainly goblins and kobolds. After the hobgoblin's lair, you go through. Now that's really quite a large complex that they live in. Then there's the Shunned Cavern, which is basically a cavern that is empty, but just some kind of, something very vile is going to emit from there that kind of scare the players off, or at least it should. And then it's up to the DM if he or she wants to put something in there that, but it's meant to be an extremely or foreboding place, and the characters probably set foot in it and then hopefully turn back and and run away, look for something else. There's an owlbear den. There's a bugbear lair. All right. So again, these things keep on increasing in power as you're going up and rising up the topography of the caverns of chaos. There's a minotaur caves and a minotaur lair, a gnoll lair, and then we get to the Shrine of Evil Chaos. And the Shrine of Evil Chaos is kind of the pinnacle of what the player character group is really investigating here. So there's going to be all kinds of different rooms, like the Chapel of Evil Chaos, the Temple of Evil Chaos. There are adepts and chambers of the evil priest, and so on. So this is the, this kind of the brains of the entire thing that's going on there in the Caverns of Chaos. Then some at the very end of the module, you have non-player characters, NPCs, designing floor plans, tips for the players, the glossary. You have a guild house plan, so as a new party, just learning how to work together in these campaigns if they start, if they decide to form a guild or join a guild. Here's a guild house floor plan that the DM can start using with them, and really be, they should be investigating these occurrences and investigating these different caverns in and around the keep on the Borderlands for quite some time. Like I said, I recall when we played this, we played various adventures using just this area and this map for weeks on end. And so, and that was playing virtually every day, certainly when we first began. So, so it gives enough of a flexibility for even a new DM to really utilize, this module to, beyond even its projected fullest extent. I mean, I know people that still go back to this and still use this for a variety of things, even just for the map. If you don't feel like throwing together a map, you can use just the basic floor plans of some of the different cavern complexes and just stencil them out onto something else and just go, with that as well. So a little bit longer than I think most of these RPG days are going, but like I said, if I do every one of these, which I seriously doubt I'll do every day's worth, but when certain prompts come up and I can see to tie it into, a very specific product, whether it be a module or a game system that I have, then that's how I'll do this. And so once again, thank you for joining. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you want to get your hands on a physical copy of this module, I'm sure that they're probably available. You can buy them online, whether it be solo or inside some of these box sets. Box sets you can get from anywhere between $50 and $100, depending on their condition and such. You can find PDFs of this. You can get the PDFs through drive-through, which I have linked in my comment section of the of the videos, of all my videos, so you can link through there and then just look up D&D first edition modules, and this I'm sure will pop up, and you can get a PDF from Wizards of the Coast, or some other third party. You can also find them online. I mean, these are very old, and so there are PDFs floating around there. I'd certainly prefer, that you do use more legal means of getting a hold of them, since they are available. So it's not like these are very hard to find. Once again, thanks for joining. I hope you liked this video. I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen sometime soon. Have a good evening.